Allow me to play devil's advocate for a second.
He wants smoke, I'll bring the matches.
When it comes to pop culture and fun, we're the whole meal.
Coming up.
Hey, welcome to Side Dish. And if you're catching us live, congratulations. I know the people that watch us are like, damn it, I didn't get a notification. I didn't know you guys were live. And we are live and we're trying to branch out. I hope my people on my Facebook are seeing this. Are we all?
Yeah, I think we're all connected. I'm seeing I'm seeing all the check marks in the right place. People I ain't seen them in. What up, Cali Stacking? Good to see you. Good to see you. And shout out to everybody across all the platforms, man, who popped up on this early version. Okay, they go to Facebook. People who have entered the Machiavelli is in the house.
All right.
Not the one that made a Hail Mary, but
we got a bonjour Claudia in there. That's very exciting. And we up TMV B1 1978. We are up. Janice, my favorite sister. I'm sure you're talking about Claudia, not me or HK. Okay, but everybody watching right now, right out the gate. So this is sort of going to be a special episode. This is our friend Samson Crouppen right here. Samson, both Claudia and myself have worked with Samson in the past, and Samson has built a huge following over the last few years, covering various viral issues, often related to social justice. I know that you were on top of a lot of the Diddy trial stuff, and then you've been doing an outstanding job of covering and staying on top of all of the various nuances with the Karmelo Anthony trial. And just so everybody who's watching live here knows, this whole half hour, this is kind of going to be what we're focused on.
Yep. Know who's cousin today. We will get back to the laughter at another time, but it's a serious issue. I'm here in Texas, right down the street, literally from where it happened. I'm in Carrollton, which is about 10 minutes away from Frisco, where all this went down. And it's scary times here in Texas. Well, actually in America. And we appreciate you, Samson. I spoke to you yesterday, another show, and I met you through other, you edited, we did some work together.
Yeah.
Comedian. I am so proud of you and proud to know you. I love how you're using your position. Your allyship is very real as well. And I love how you call out other white people, prominent people that have benefited off the Black community for their violence. And we're going to definitely get to your list of people that you called out. Just out the gate, what drew you to this case?
I would say what drew me to this case was just I don't know, I was sensing how divided everybody was. And I think it was because I was reporting on the Cyrus Carmack Belton case, and with Rick Chow, Andy Chow, for people who don't know, it was in South Carolina. And an Asian store owner, Cyrus, was accused of stealing 4 bottles of water, but it was known that he didn't steal the water. He put his backpack down, he shook his hoodie, he let the woman know he didn't have anything, walked out of the store calmly, and Andy Chow, the son, and Rick Chow, the owner, the father, chased him out of the store 130 yards and shot him in the back. This kid dropped 2 cell phones, his cell phone, his mom's cell phone, fell out of his shoes, and they shot him in the back. And during the trial, Andy Chow, they said, did he point a gun at you? No. Did he come at you and charge you? No. Was he running away from you? Yes. And I think that's what kind of got me on this, is everybody's like, okay, this guy's, Rick Chow's going to go down for murder. He murdered this 14-year-old, even though people said Cyrus had a gun. The gun was never seen. It was no witnesses ever saw him with a gun. So everybody thought Rick Chow would get murder, but he got off for self-defense. So then right on the heels of that, Karmelo Anthony, stabbing Austin Metcalf at a track meet, self-defense again. And I think I don't know, something kind of pulled me in on it. And I'll be honest, I didn't know how polarizing it was going to be until I kind of found myself in the middle of it all. And then I also realized, being white, there's not a ton of white people who are comedians, entertainers, who have an experience in the community like I do to kind of be able to speak on some of this stuff and see the nuances and knowing history, how to, have an understanding. A lot of white people think, oh, if I admit to, I don't need to be guilty for all this, and white privilege isn't real, and like all these things that are like, just when you educate yourself and speak on it, it allows people to be able to heal instead of, the Black community hates to see people running from it. Be like, that's not, you guys are playing the victim, or you're overreacting, or like they love to say, hey, had it been reversed and two large Black football players to a littler white kid, and the white kid acted in self-defense, we all know how this trial would have gone. And I think that's why it's so polarizing to everybody.
You brought up something brilliant there, and it's sort of the if the scenario had been switched a little bit, and to bring a little context, because we're going to get into the trial a little bit, to bring a little context to it, I went and I found some of you might be familiar with a couple other similar crimes in Texas involving a high school student stabbing another high school student. So I'm going to show a couple photos and just give a brief summary of these sentencings. Also, I want to be real clear, not supporting violence in any form or fashion. Like I think it's horrible that it's happening, especially to people so young, and that people are put in these scenarios where they are defending themselves, or in other cases, the aggressor. This is Kason Allison. That's his mugshot there on the right in the orange. He fatally stabbed the man there on the left. Kason was convicted of criminally negligent homicide. His sentence was 10 years. Now we have this young man here. This is Jesus San Miguel, also of Texas, also a high school student. Was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide. So the same thing as Kason in the previous slide, same conviction. He was given 10 years of probation plus 30 days in jail. And so the reason that I wanted to bring those two things here is to set the context, because what seems to happen is if people are committing comparable crimes, they should receive a comparable sentence. And what we're looking at here is a scenario in which, regardless of how you feel about Karmelo Anthony's actions and how those unfolded, regardless of how you feel, I've just given you two examples of someone who is a Caucasian and someone who very nearly is Caucasian passing, and the massive difference in their sentencing and Karmelo's.
I don't, it's so blatant that it's not even like, I can't even be mad anymore. It's just, it's so ridiculous. Like, it's definitely not first degree murder. I
Right.
just don't get how they got to a first degree. First degree is premeditated. You planned it, you thought about it, you had a motive. If this was in the moment, this was manslaughter to me, I think. I don't even think he meant to do it. I remember seeing footage or hearing about him being, how distraught he was. I have a friend that I know that her man is a police officer, and he was like close to the case. This guy was torn up over it, Karmelo. It wasn't like he was like, yeah, I did it. And he was torn up over this, and never meant to kill anyone. Kyle Rittenhouse got into a car with guns, looking for some trouble. Gets GoFundMes, gets honored, gets embraced by MAGA, is a hero to them. George Zimmerman never was taken to task, never held accountable, raised a bunch of money. He's broke now, but was embraced. And I think people are just rallying behind these symbols, these people, to enjoy their racism, and under the guise of justice. We got a bad guy.
Patriotism.
Yeah, patriotism. This is fake patriotism.
And I think it's interesting because Kyle Rittenhouse, like you brought up, Karmelo Anthony's GoFundMe, or the Give Send Go, has been taken down.
Really?
But Kyle Rittenhouse is still up. He's still making money off of it. And it's funny, anytime I get like these racist trolls in my comments, they're like, you're defending a murderer and this and that. And I was like, yeah, but you probably love Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, well, he was justified. And it's just so interesting how like you pointed out, Tanner, like we've said, there's just, if it was even across the board and the sentencing was all the same and history wasn't what it was, I think we'd all say, it's a tragic thing that happened. And like you said, Claudia, I think he stabbed him once. It wasn't like the kid got stabbed 10 different times. I think it was like one of those unfortunately unlucky things where he went to defend himself and stabbed the kid in the exact place that killed him,
Yeah, I think they said it was like a 2-inch puncture or a 2-inch blade that did it. And it wasn't like somebody stabbed somebody 15 times.
Right.
It was just a one and done. And unfortunately, it was in the wrong space and place. But going back to what you were saying before, man, like I think a lot of time, not only do these jurors, but also these judges, they look at people with implicit bias. They don't look at the facts of the case. They look at the color of the conversation, and they have their mind made up on what they're going to do before the first word is uttered, in that courtroom sometimes, man. And I just think it's horrible. And I was waiting, and looking at my watch to see like when on schedule during this phase of this presidency, we was about to see the BS arrive again. Because you remember when this knucklehead was in office the first time, it was a lot of like law enforcement.
Yeah, with Mike in St. Louis, and
yeah. And so to see the scales start to get lopsided again in different ways in this space and place with young teens, who are like, losing their lives in different ways. The young man who was shot in the grocery store, and also, the young man who's now going to have to fight for his life for 34 years in prison. It's crazy, man. And you just think we make all these advances and you find out we didn't.
I think lawyers were trash. I feel like Carmelo's lawyers too. I'm like, were you guys all friends? I would have had that kid on the stand. I would have the video. There is a video. There's several videos. Sam, we talked about this last night. Kids at this age film every goddamn thing. Okay. There's footage that will show that these two twins were bullies. First of all, oh boy was not even supposed to be. He was suspended from school. Had it had been a black kid suspended who showed up at a track meet for trespassing, why was he there in the first place? He shouldn't have been there. All bets would be off.
They said his friend Eddie, who invited Karmelo under the tent, and they were kind of dapping it up talking before, that they're saying that he actually filmed the interaction, but that his phone was confiscated. And some people are alleging or speculating that, once they took that, his phone, that they potentially erased the video. And then also, I don't know if you guys know, but Toby Shook and Bill Werski, who I think Werski was trying to put Karmelo away, and Bill Shook was his lawyer, one of the lawyers. They used to have a law firm together, so it's like they're like guys who are not talking in the courtroom, but probably like, hey, you want to grab lunch?
Yep.
So there's
so
much to
sharing information amongst each other. I was at
a lot of times that's unfortunately that happens a lot more than people understand. We've got to take a quick 2-minute break. When we come back, one of the things I want to touch on, Samson, if you're familiar with, is part of not only the jury selection, but people who were eliminated from the jury. And then also we want to get your thoughts on the silence from various white celebrities who work in Black culture when we come back, because I know you made a video on that. We're going to show that when we come back. We're going to take a quick 2 minutes and we'll be right back. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Side Dish. Talking about Karmelo Anthony. One of the things that I noted as I was looking into this trial was how there was not a single black juror on the trial. When a trial is, you draw in many jurors, potential jurors. Everyone has probably gotten a jury summons at some point or another. Well, a lawyer can eliminate someone, and they cannot eliminate someone on the on race. You're not supposed to, but if they can find any other reason whatsoever, they're allowed to dismiss people off as a potential juror. And one of the things that I came across was the prosecution. There were potential jurors who had worked in education at some level or another, and those jurors were black. And the prosecution managed to eliminate every single one of them with an excuse that had nothing to do with their race, but that they worked in education or in some sort of capacity that would have made them sympathetic to the defense.
How are we standing by? How are we standing for this? I'm so like, how are we not rioting? How are we not like seriously? Teachers, black teachers getting taken off the jury pool. Just out of contention because they may be sympathetic. They're smart. They understand. They would understand the dynamics of students and that age dynamic, that age group more than anyone. Mm-hmm. I'm so frustrated. This is so giving early 1900s, late 1800s, dragging black people out of jails, lynching them. This is what it feels like. A 3-hour deliberation, immediate sentencing, 35 years. This is unbelievable. There seems to be so many mistakes. And when I was friends with, I testified in a big trial back in the day against Mike Tyson. He raped my friend back in the day. And come to find out, her lawyer and one of Tyson's lawyers were partners in a law firm. They was 1,000% sharing information. Okay, they trust and believe they all do that. They do that. And I don't understand why so many of these things went unchecked. This kid was a straight A student, 3.7 GPA, captain of the track team, no issues, smaller than these two twins. These twins had a history of being bullies. We're in Texas, where I can tell you how that feels every day. Mm-hmm. MAGA land, okay? And people, why did he have a knife? Why? I feel like all black people should have a weapon on them nowadays.
It's an open carry state. Why do most people have guns?
And I mean, most of the white people there carry like a big ass buck knife. Kill something. I got to kill something real quick.
None of these laws have ever were made for us to take advantage of. Stand your ground, even illegal, open carry, all these things were never intended to protect black people. That is a goddamn problem. They hate it that we try to use it, but they do a fine job because they install the judges, they install the DAs, all the people, they all are in cahoots together, working together. For them, this is free labor. How many times have we seen people speak out against this? We got to get this prison population up because when he gets in there, he's going to be working for Walmart or whatever, or Victoria's Secret or any of these other businesses. And they have a 35-year slave is what they want.
And the wild part too is like, even as the putting out of information, right? The flow of information is so controlled because most people now get their news from social media. So I think there's, going back to what you were saying, like how come more people aren't outraged or frustrated about it? I think there might be someone who's hearing about this story today for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's because the algorithm wants to show you cats and pandas because once upon a time you click like on a couple of those videos. So now the real news gets pushed into a certain different direction. And you really got to go dig for it. And most people don't go dig for injustice.
And we have so much every day that
HK, to sort of piggyback off of that, part of the algorithm is influenced by people like Samson using their voice to lift up a story like this. Samson, you made a video about silence from a specific group of celebrities. I want to run that video real quick and then have you sort of elaborate on it, if you don't mind.
Why are they so silent when something like this happens? Where's Jack Harlow? Wants to dress like he's Mos Def in the 90s. Completely silent. Where's Post Malone? White Iverson uses the black culture to get on, then switches to country music. Silent. Jelly Roll was a fat trap rapper from Texas using black culture. Switch to country. Silent. And please don't forget Kim Kardashian and the whole Kardashian family who uses black men, black culture. They even have black children. Silent.
Well
Sorry,
said.
too, I was sweating. I was on my run and I look like I'm out of breath, which I was. So I was like in the middle of my run and that thought kind of hit me because like it's so true. I mean, we see this all the time, and for myself, for all of America, black culture influences the entire world. Swag, the way we walk, the way we shake hands, the way we dress. White kids in the suburbs bumping to rap music and feeling that vibe, or they're at a club, they're not playing country music, they're playing black music. And well, country music is black music, but like everything is influenced by the black culture. But then when it comes time to actually stand for black rights, like when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, they said, okay, keep politics out. But then Jackson Dart goes and supports Trump. And they're like, yeah, we're okay with that. Again, Jackson Dart doing his like, where does he get all this shit when he's doing a touchdown dance? It's black culture. And sorry, no, I was just saying, with examples of Jelly Roll, like we have, Jack Harlow's a great example because like the dude is just acting, cosplaying as a black man from the 90s. Look at that. Look at this pictures. He's stealing Mos Def. He's stealing Common. He's like Talib Kweli. But so he should be at the forefront. Look at him. He should be he dates black women. He is submerged in black culture. But why am I one of the only entertainers using my platform to speak on this? You know what I mean? And I'm not, I'm a regular white guy. You know what I mean? Like I have plenty of soul and rhythm and all these things. And black culture has influenced me so much. And I always say I'm an appreciator, not an appropriator, and there's a big difference. And you have, like you said, Kim Kardashian, the whole Kardashians, how many black men have they ruined? How bad they want to be black by having black children with black celebrities. Yet, and Kim has used her platform a little bit, but it's just like I said, Pink came out as a black woman. Everybody thought Pink was black. She was an R&B singer, used the black culture. Then, oh no, I'm really a punk rocker. Post Malone, White Iverson. He had gold teeth. He had freaking cornrows. You know what I mean? And then is able to switch over to country. But then when Beyonce goes to country, or Shabuzi, they're like, what is she doing? She can't do country. It's like black people created country music.
Why? Let me jump in here. Let me jump in here, and I put this to the three of you, and whoever feels passionate about this, jump in first. What do you think they're afraid of? These people who try to traffic, these white people who try to traffic in black culture, profit from black culture, but then refuse to speak out on an event like this. What is it that you think that they're afraid of?
It was never real. It was only surface level.
Right.
If you cannot possibly really feel for the culture and like the way Samson does and go silent, because if you really meant it, you would be outraged as he is and as we are. So it was all fake. It was all surface because a lot of these people, when push comes to shove, if they have to decide between losing something over here, even they have so much excess of money and being potentially losing $1, they're gonna pick the dollar every single goddamn time. Every time. And it's so sad. That's why I so appreciate people that don't have to do this. Samson, you shared you're a white Jewish man. If anything, you could have an easy ride in this business, but you're choosing the hard route because you have integrity. But they are not really down for us. And black people are so goddamn accepting. You, like you said yesterday, Samson, white folks do a little dance, have a little booty, have a little swag, and be kind of cool. And we will welcome you with open arms. And we sometimes are welcoming in the enemy. Hello, Michael Rappaport. You know what I'm saying?
Good example.
Just totally switch up on us when it's beneficial. And also reading the room. Look at how people changed from 2020, George Floyd, how many people were with us, how many brands, corporations, they all had all this diversity and equity and inclusion and money and dollars. And as soon as a few years went by, they started cutting all the shows. All the shows, all the funding. We don't have to pretend to be like y'all anymore. And I also feel like It's a little bit of a payback for Derek Chauvin being in jail. Now they got one. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of there's definitely people that are still angry about that, you know, and that people are showing their ass. They weren't really in. We need to do a better job of vetting who we allow into the space and let them jack our shit. Because I'm sick of this. Where are they? You are so right. I'm so glad you put names on it. So glad.
I mean, I think there are a lot of people who attract stars for the money before they're allies of the people. You know, love or hate Drake, he pointed out something very very like you know, when everything was going on with Israel and Palestine, which it still is, DJ Khaled was cemetery silent.
Silent. Those are his people.
As a Palestinian, you should have an opinion on the matter, but the problem is the gatekeeping that goes on, and people are afraid to lose their seat at the table, because being the people's champ for some is viewed in a way to where you can't eat off of being the people's champ. You can't, you know, you can't necessarily eat off the fact that, oh, I was at the march, I was at the protest, I stood up for the thing, as much as you can by just shutting up and play ball like some people want you to do. And, you know, and at the end of the day, like one day it's going to be your turn, and so you're going to want somebody to stand up for you. And when you had the opportunity, you didn't. And for that, shame on you.
Shout out to Cardi B being one of
She's one of the only ones, that
stood up and was outraged. She's also been she's always been conscious.
And I think, Tanner, to answer your question, they don't care. Or I'm sorry, they're not scared. They're not scared at all. They don't care. And I think, like Claudia said, it just shows them like everybody loves Black culture. They don't actually love Black people.
No.
Yo, I forgot which person in the comments said they want the rhythm, but they don't want the blues. They don't want who said that.
I always say I wish people could love Black celebrities, entertainers, and athletes as much as they could just love Black people.
Do we have to take
We got to take a quick 2-minute break. I'm trying to get in this last video here that Samson found, and I think it adds a lot of context and perhaps a lesson for people just to see how much hate is still out there and how this is handed from one generation to another. We got to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be back with more Side Dish after that.
I won't thank you.
Welcome back. I just want to say real quick, people asking, like, they're like, we didn't know you guys were going live. We do have a new membership feature with this. It's $5 a month. If you want to support our page, our channel, we can continue to do great work like this. please go ahead and become a member of our channel. Sorry, Tanner. I just had to get that.
No. Listen, people don't know we roll by the seat of the pants a lot here. This is all real and natural and unscripted. I do want to warn people. This is going to contain language that's problematic. We don't have time to run the whole video, but I think it's important to run some of it because this is the father of the young man who was stabbed.
Sold you to us, and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass. And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960. Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you. You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled. You know what DEI stands for? Yeah. It means I don't have to be fucking qualified. I just have to be a certain color or a race or gender.
All right. And so it continues in a similar fashion. What comes across you guys' minds in context of Karmelo Anthony's scenario when you hear words like that?
The wrong person got stabbed that day?
Fact. Yeah. And I think I found a family photo of them from earlier times.
Well, how hilarious.
And
Well,
they had a family
goes to
reunion.
show you,
Family
I think
reunion.
it gives real insight as to when those, the twins approached Carmelo, the attitude they carry, the education they got from their father. I mean, the nerve of him acting like slavery, like you guys were brought here. We gave you the right to vote. You're privileged, like all this pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like everything he was saying is like every racist trope in the book. And so imagine that man raising that's what's so dangerous about racism is it gets passed on from generation to generation. And you almost can't blame kids when their parents are teaching them this. Of course, as we grow into men and women, it's on us to educate ourselves that, man, my dad said some racist stuff that wasn't right. But you see his anger and his opinions. And what's sad is like, this is how so many people think. Like DEI, like when Charlie Kirk made the comment, if it's a black pilot, I think, which people don't know, black people have to jump through 40 more hoops to do it. I think DEI is for white people. It's like, oh, my dad was a pilot, so yeah, Sam's good. Let him, hey, he didn't get quite the numbers. He's good. You know what I mean? Like where black people have to try so much harder than their counterparts to get the same things. That's why DEI was created. And, the irony, all these Christians, like diversity, equality, inclusion, like that's probably the three things Jesus stands for, It was this irony that, like I said, yeah, they've turned woke into a bad thing. They've turned DEI into a bad thing. And I think his racism speaks volumes for how those boys most likely confronted Carmelo,
I have a question for Tanner and Samson, only because you're white, right? And I think Tanner's biracial, and Samson, you might have a black grandma or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Serious question, like from the conversations you've had or overheard family members or friends, or maybe they don't know you're an ally, of people that you've heard, they've spoken around you, you get to be a fly on the wall with people, right? And they don't know that you're an ally. I've always wanted to know, with the history, right, of us, black and white people, black people were brought here against their will. They were forced to work. They had their babies cut out of their abdomens. They were castrated. They were set on fire. They were eaten. Black people were made into lamps, their skin. They would establish great neighborhoods, and then they would develop the 10 freeway to cut right through the neighborhoods. They would steal black wealth. They would burn down, Black Wall Street, all these things, right?
Lake Lanier, Central Park.
Lanier. There's so many things, right? Why are white people mad at black people when we should be the ones that are angry? And we don't. Somehow we find a way to have grace and to put it in the hands of the Lord, and we're gonna wait. We're such a we do not act the way we should. We are very much entitled that we should act. What do
Yeah.
you guys think when you hear people like, why are they so mad?
I think it's like Public Enemy said, fear of a black planet. You know, I think racist white people have this idea, and like you said, black people are the most forgiving, the most accepting race on the planet. And I think racist white people have some weird fantasy that if we let them get ahead too much, they will turn around and do to us what we did to them.
But we have no desire to do that, though.
Of course not. But most white people don't go into any black spaces to understand that. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times comedians like Tony Hinchcliffe, like, oh, I played this black room and it was gang, 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 and acts like every black person in there has a hand on the pistol ready. Like, you know, I played black rooms my entire comedy career. They're the most accepting. It's like, you're either funny or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea that white people, I always make the joke, I'd be more scared to be a black person in an all white space because there's probably a mass shooter in there. You know what I mean? So black people have this, and it goes back to the entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, how many times do we see in a movie like Michelle Pfeiffer and Dangerous Minds, oh, the white teacher and all black, and it's like, yo, you know, it's stereotypes that are so engraved in our heads that white people are trained to think an all black space is dangerous. And so white people have a fear that black people will do to them that white people, you know.
So there's a guilt there. They know if
or they don't want to feel guilty. They don't want to feel there's white privilege. You know what I mean? They don't want to feel that things are different, because then they actually have to go back and look at history and accept, because a lot of white people, they'll be like, I'm poor, you're poor, what's the difference? And it's like, well, you know, like I said, like Jay-Z could get pulled over in his Bentley, or I could get pulled over in my Bentley. They're never going to ask me if that's my car. I don't have to have a conversation with my 16-year-old about the police. Every black parent has a discussion with their black child about the police. So like I said, we all apply our experience to your experience instead of talking to you, hearing your experience and realizing like, oh, wow, that doesn't ever happen for me. And then having to, you know, be more understanding.
I want to give a message to white folks. My mom's white. I feel like I can speak to both sides. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand there is a fear that, damn, we know deep down, as much as we don't want to admit it, we want to strike it from all the books and from schools and from curriculums. We know deep down what our ancestors did to your ancestors and what they're still doing in some parts of the world, right? And you feel deep down inside that given the chance to get to our full potential, we would do the same thing to y'all that was done to us, and we would be justified. I just want to let y'all know, as a delegate from the Black community, and Crack, you can back me up on this, we have no desire to continue the violence that you have done, your ancestors have done to ours. We don't. We have grace. We don't. We just want to be left alone. We seriously don't have the get back in us. We don't want that. Right. We just want to be left alone to raise our families, to love, to earn a living. We have no desire. You see how welcoming and forgiving we are. We find a way. And I don't know how many times we have to like make it clear. Yes, there are some rogue ones that will. I'm not mad at them either. But I'm just saying, as a whole of the collective, I've never been around a group of Black people that said, we need to get them back for what they did in 1882. We don't. Right. We just want to be left alone. Leave us alone. That's it.
I think
most white people don't have that many Black relationships. They have Black coworkers, and they don't have people actually in their homes and break bread. And so I think that's why, I mean, stereotypes fester when you don't have real relationships and learn from each other. That's why all these Kill Tony comics and all this, they do racist stuff in front of all white Austin audiences, and they're doing level 1 racist comedy because they don't actually hang out with Black people to get beyond the stereotypes of their hack comedy. And that's how our society is at large. You know,
they're pandering. They're pandering to the worst section of Caucasians. I think I wanted to answer the question, Claudia, because I have thought about this. There's a couple books around the corner that I have found like very, very beneficial. I think truly, I think black people are better to white people than they have any cause to be for the greatest sum of it all. I thoroughly think that. But then also, I think that there's like a sliding scale of fear. And on the worst, most deprived sections of racist white fear is the fear that that black people will rise up and treat white people the way that white people treated black people. I think that is the largest fear in the most racist person. And then there are scales, like once we get into prejudice and things of that nature. Like there's the people in that photo who's throwing on the hoods, and then there's lots of those today, and a lot of them wear red hats. But then once we get down there to the people who they're not necessarily Klan members, but they don't like black people, the fear is that, I think, is their place in society. They hold on to the idea that they're slightly better than a black person, because if they didn't have that, they wouldn't have anything at all.
Just go be exceptional. Go be exceptional like we have to do. We have to be 5 times better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't have an answer for those people. I know that if you came up in a household where a man speaks the way in that clip that we played earlier, I would be shocked for you to come out of there without some at minimum latent racism.
Right. You know what's frustrating about the fear piece of this?
What's that?
About like white people being afraid of black people, and we're like the boogeyman, right? I'm generalizing, of course. White people are fearless. I watched the Viking series. They went into a boat with no top on. Okay? Did not know where the sea was going to take them. They said, F it. We going for a ride. We don't know what. We know we can't grow any crops. We done raped all the women here. Let's go find another place to go, right? They jumped in a boat. Whales, tsunamis, storms, no reason, everything. And was like fearless to do that. They will wrestle with a goddamn alligator. They will jump off a mountain. They will screw a sheep, a cow, and a horse. I seen a white man take a 15-inch penis in his butt, no lube. He died.
Ouch.
But he
No
went.
lube?
He went for it. Yes, no lube. He died. It was in Washington State. There was no bestiality laws. We see the stunts, Evel Knievel, all these things. Fearless. No fear. A 12-year-old black boy play with what appears to be a toy gun in a park, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm so afraid. I feared for my life. Bullshit.
Yeah.
We've seen you put your hand in a crocodile's mouth.
Yeah.
We've seen you let a rare wasp bite your hand to see how hot, how much it burns. But a 12-year-old, gangly, skinny ass black boy scares the shit out of you. Well, you just, oh my God. I don't get the fear thing. And I just need someone to explain that to me.
I mean, I think it goes
alligators. Are black people scared than alligators and wasps?
No,
I
we
think
wear
it goes back to our entertainment. Like I was saying, like in every movie, when a white guy goes to jail, does he go into the cell and it's a bunch of white guys and he's terrified? No. He goes into the cell and it's all these big black men. It's never, maybe Latinos get thrown in there as well. But if you look at it's a lot of our entertainment that we've been fed that we're not even aware of subconsciously. We're taught through every television show and movie that black people are stronger, tougher, more violent, more aggressive. And if you go to jail, it's going to be they always position black people. That's been, how many roles is there? You know what I mean? Like they give Denzel the Oscar for Training Day, and not every other movie he's done. They gave it to him for Glory, a slave movie. You know what I mean? Like it's all through our entertainment. We love to watch like the white savior movie. We love to watch a slave movie where the white person is somehow made the hero, in all different movies. And so I think a lot of it is we don't realize how programmed we are by entertainment. And I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from. and then we watch our 5 o'clock news, and a black guy shoots this, a black guy shoots this.
Mhm.
So white people are not actually having black relationships, so they're not able to decipher the stereotypes from that black people are the most accepting. They're not trying to hurt anybody like this. You know what I mean? But it's
And we
just,
have our issues in our community. We do.
of
We're
course,
not all
every
innocent.
community does.
We're not all innocent, and y'all are not all guilty. But in
Of
media,
course.
we've all gone to school and know a thing about media and journalism, something called framing.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Very good at framing the stories. When you watch the news now, and I challenge you all, not you guys already know, but people in the chat, when you watch the news and you pay attention to the description of the criminal, whenever they don't say the race, it's a white man, and that's done on purpose. That's protective. If you keep hearing a white man, white, oh wow, they're out of control.
He was a good kid. We never saw this coming. He was a good student, or look at just how they're presenting Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Every picture of Karmelo is his mugshot mostly, and every Austin Metcalf is him in his high school picture, his football uniform. They're not showing him as a bully. They're, it's purposely done. And again, once we see that, they even made Karmelo darker in a picture, so it goes back to our programming and our fear through all of entertainment that we're taught to. This guy is scarier than, look at all the Disney films. White is innocent, blonde hair, blue-eyed, Prince Charming. It's never a black man.
Right. I wish moving forward, I wish there was a way in the legal system in the future where the facts of the case can be presented without a photo of the defendant.
Oh, it's interesting.
And the victim. And we just went by the merits of the case and the evidence without seeing the color of the person. I wonder how the scales of justice would tip, or if they'd be the same. I think that'd be in the future. That could be a good movie, actually.
It's like they're not in the courtroom. You know what I mean? Imagine if the jury does not know the race, they don't know what the person looks like. I think that's brilliant.
Just not the look. Yeah, just the looks. We don't get in the name too, because the name will give it away.
Right.
It's the defendant and it's the victim, the plaintiff, right? And
yeah.
And
I'll also add to that, you present the facts, and regardless who your lawyer is, the crime and the time are equal.
The same.
No matter who you secured as, because there's so many situations where you see people get disparagingly different amounts of time sentence for the same crime, and a lot of times it's there's the racial component, sometimes there's the people you're connected to component, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of that stuff needs to be thrown out. It needs to be a little bit more even kill for a lot of these things.
It's set up where if you're rich, you can most likely get off, and unfortunately that should be taken out as well. We need to take money out of politics and out of the legal system, where you have a pool of lawyers, maybe, perhaps, and maybe it's random drawing, I don't know, but the way that it is now, too many guilty people are getting off, and too many poor innocent people are going to jail.
All of this is happening, by the way, and anyone who's watching, and by the way, thank you guys watching live on Facebook and YouTube from the different channels. Thank you so much. And we see the super chat gifts. Thank you very much.
Oh my
really
God.
appreciate those things.
Oh, nice.
All of this comes to light. There are so many people who might listen to this conversation, or I should say people who look like me and Samson, who might listen to this conversation and feel like the language is too tense or too big or describing too large of a scenario or something that they don't see in their daily lives. And that's because you're centering your view on through the way that you move through the world. You might not, as a white person, you might not see racism as it affects black people. And I say that because just a couple days ago, they lit a cross on fire in Chicago. A burning cross in Chicago. They lit this cross. They set it up in a park. They lit it on fire, and then they ran. And the reason they ran is because they want the benefits of intimidation without the accountability of being known as being racist. Mm-hmm. And that's a thing that I struggle to wrap my mind around because it's very real and it's around us every single day. And I don't know. Guys, I wish we could figure out a way to solve it right now, but I don't know that we're going to.
It seems like racism and cowardice is go hand in hand.
Yep.
They rarely say with their chest. I mean, once in a while, but a lot of times it's packs. It's 10-on-1. It's 5-on-1. It's jumping. It's in the woods. It's
And I have something very interesting that somebody just sent me. If you guys want, I can read. This is an email that one of the cheerleaders on the football team shared about Hunter and Austin. It says, the other cheerleaders and I have tried to make an effort to stay supportive and spirited through the football season. However, the disrespect we feel coming from some of the football players is making it very difficult. Today, after our game against Liberty, some of us cheerleaders in uniform went to Canes. While talking amongst ourselves about the loss, Hunter Metcalf stood up and yelled that my friend and fellow varsity cheerleader is a fat bitch. I don't understand what triggers his rages, but to yell unprovoked made us really upset and was incredibly embarrassing. My friend, as everyone at Canes looked at her and started laughing. We see the Metcalfs act out time and time again, but we trust that there is no repercussions or some sort of consequences, so we stay out of it. But for it now to be directed towards us, one of the people that shows up to every game to support and cheer them on, is astounding to me. After they left Canes, one of the other football players told us that Hunter said his hands were bisexual, implying that he would not only hit guys, but also girls. She's not only embarrassed, but genuinely scared, especially after seeing the way he can act on the field. I'm only coming to you because I feel you should be aware that he is acting like this in public places, which is not good for our school's representation and is discouraging us from keeping to cheer them on. I'm sorry to have to even come to you about this, but after tonight, it truly feels like it's getting out of hand. I recognize that he may be upset that we lost, but there is no justification for the way he treated my friend tonight. I would also appreciate for my name to stay confidential, as I fear what they would do if they knew.
So, and this came out when? This was like something that happened prior to the incident?
A woman just sent me this from an email. She asked me if I have them. She said, read the emails. I got the receipts and there's more. Trust me. This was sent to Frisco ISD. The Metcalf's coaches were formally investigated by the school, so there is documentation. These cheerleaders were scared for their lives of the Metcalf twins, so everyone in Frisco ISD was made aware of the Metcalf's propensity to be threatening to one's life and violent. But most importantly, it was given to Karmelo's attorney almost a year before the trial started, and this wasn't used to help Karmelo in a self-defense case.
It sounds like this was a botched case from the beginning.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I'm getting so much information, which I love, from people who are really educating me on who these, but when you hear stories like that, doesn't it, it really gives you complete perspective on who these kids were.
I saw the family talking last night. They were so distraught somewhere, and they were saying how they were constantly discouraged from having a Black attorney, and they were told that they need to have a white attorney, and they kept getting shut down at every turn that they need to have a white attorney. And they feel like their lawyer did no objections and just let a lot of stuff fly. And was just so, it's like, are they all in cahoots? What's going on here?
I mean, I think, Claudia, it goes back to what I was saying about entertainment. If we're watching a movie, you know, a white attorney feels more trusted.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you going to cast Morgan Freeman, or are you going to cast
Matthew McConaughey? Right.
Yeah, Tom Hanks, or you know what I mean? Like, because of entertainment. And I understand, for me as an activist and using my platform, that I have to be so careful to be factual, because I understand people trust what I'm saying because of the way I look. And so I have to even be extra careful that I'm being factual. But it all goes back to our programming.
Yeah, and there's so many years of unprogramming that needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like, because things are just kind of like microdosed into your psyche and your eyesight every day in just different ways, whether you realize it or not. And you don't even realize you're being programmed until it's too late.
Right?
What makes me sad about this is I honestly felt like when Barack Obama was in office, right? I remember going to the Democratic National Convention right before he got elected in Denver. And I remember how good I felt for the first time as a Black person in America, right? I saw a blind black man and a blind white man holding arms, and they were walking down a little hill going towards the entrance of the convention center. And I took a picture of it because it was so epic to me. And it was the vibe of, the movement that was happening. The audience was so diverse. It wasn't just black people that were there supporting Barack Obama. It was white people that were sick of the racism. It was open-minded people. It was people that everybody was represented. And I remember feeling like when he was in office, maybe racists feel a different way. They it irritated them to see this. But I remember feeling, damn, things are getting better. It feels like we've made some actual progress. People kind of took down their racism flags. And I see now they just went into hibernation, ready to be activated once again. And where I really felt like they were dying out. And now to see an uprising in 18 and 17-year-olds whose parents are keeping us alive, it's so discouraging to see.
Yeah.
It really
and
is.
To somebody in the comments, I just saw they said Mark Garagos needs to get on this. And Mark Garagos is actually a friend of mine from the Diddy trial. And I just texted him. I said, you need to check out this Karmelo Anthony case. He could really use your help for the appeal. So I think that, he does need a high profile attorney for this,
Yeah.
I hope
I saw Ben Crump's name in the chat as well.
Yeah,
you know
Ben Crump is great.
He's that
I
guy.
mean, yeah, I think obviously the family, I think the problem with Mike Howard and the others, that they were all in bed together. You need a high profile attorney to handle this. I mean, there's a reason people get off for some of the worst things is because they're high profile attorneys. And I certainly think, he needed somebody more in his corner, but I think for this appeal, he needs a very high profile attorney that can take this on.
I mean, the appeal's already an uphill battle, but it seems like we're hearing wait, what? All this stuff was all this stuff was repressed. We didn't hear about this. We didn't hear about that. I would have loved if Karmelo would have been able to take the stand.
And that's another thing about the legal system. We act like things are etched in stone, like the 10 Commandments, and things can't be changed. When there's a case and someone gets found guilty and or innocent, and you find out later that there was some suppressed evidence, man, we are on the clock. Every second that somebody's behind bars unjustly that shouldn't be there, or that someone's free that should be behind bars. Oh, we couldn't use that evidence because of how it was obtained. You either did the crime or you didn't. Even when people was doing that thing a couple years ago, it was like, things that are said in music shouldn't be used against you in court. Well, if you're talking about the things you did in your music in real life, it should be admissible in a court of law. If you really want to know what the true answer, ask the family of the victim.
Yeah, that part. Sam, we have a comment from Laura, a question. Lauren_1987. Sam, what can we do to help Karmelo's case? Is there a FundMe available for legal representation? The appeal has been filed. The pauper's oath was filed, the motion. So do you know of anything that's set up?
I just saw that they took Karmelo Anthony's GoFundMe down, earlier how we were talking, like they've worked to even take it down, but Kyle Rittenhouse's is still up. So
there's a slight, I pinged in on that earlier today, and there is a slight, these crowdfunding platforms, each one of them is different, and some of them function in different ways. And part of the reason that Karmelo's thing went viral is they raised over the last year a significant chunk of change, but he did not have a GoFundMe. He had a Send and Go, and Send and Go released the way the Send and Go operates is different than GoFundMe or different than WeFunder or whatever. Those are just like lumps of money given to a person. But I guess for Send and Go, you have to say the money is going to go to number 1, number 2, number 3, like specific things. And once those things are accomplished, they shut down the campaign. Kyle Rittenhouse had one of those sort of generic GoFundMes where it's like people will just could load that up for the rest of his life. But Send and Go as a platform, at the very least, seems like, because one of the things is the Anthony family was being harassed, and so they needed to move. And so they were able to accomplish a couple of these things. And once it was confirmed that they accomplished those things, the Send and Go considered itself finished for the task for which it had tried to raise money. And so I think there is some distinction there to be made.
So we need to start another one, basically.
Here we go.
I see that there was one started, but it doesn't have anything. But I'm reading the fundraiser for Karmelo Anthony has been shut down now that he has been convicted. Previously, it was allowed due to the presumption of innocence. Apparently, funds will be dispersed back to contributors. So he had raised over $600,000, but Give, Send, Go took that campaign down.
Where did you find that? Because I saw a different statement this morning.
It's on Reddit. There's one of the, but yeah, it looks like it was a Give, Send, Go, I believe.
Well, maybe another one can get started. I understand like once someone's convicted, but now we need it for the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy how like fast, certain companies and things will, like collapse or fold under the pressure of others. Whereas like, when it's something that is a more, colorful, spirited thing that we're, campaigning for, let's get the 50,000 signatures.
And so for whatever it's worth, the Give, Send, Go gave a statement to the New York Post, and their statement was the fundraiser was supported to support pretrial needs, and those funds were dispersed over the last year. With that stated purpose complete, the fundraiser has been closed. Now that's their statement. Interpret it as you will.
Well, that company, I remember interviewing one of the founders of that company before, and they got a lot of criticism because they're the ones that would leave them up for like white supremacists, and like they're the ones that said, well, we're fair. We don't take a stance either way. And
remember that lady who was calling the Somalians the N-word at a Cinnabon in like Minnesota or something.
Yeah.
That lady raised over like $200,000, and I don't think they shut hers down. I mean, that's the crazy thing is racism pays. Chud the Builder, that guy raised a ton of money. Remember, he almost raised $1 million on there. I mean, it goes to show you. And the guy he shot only had like $50,000. Like, it's crazy. Like, racism pays in this country.
Now I know they were saying for a second that like with the Chud the Builder situation that he couldn't use any of that money that was raised
for bond. Yeah.
Good.
Well, guys, we've been talking about this for over an hour now. I don't know how much longer you guys want to go. Does anyone have any final thoughts they want to get out, or is there any questions from viewers that we can address?
I do want to ask Sam, you are definitely putting yourself out there. Can you talk to us about any kind of, are you getting threats, death threats, or what kind of repercussions are you facing?
No, I'm not. I mean, knock on wood, thankfully. I'm not getting any threats of that nature. I'm just being called every name under the sun, race baiter. People are saying, you're a cuck. You want to watch your wife get smashed on by a black man. Like, it's just like all they're calling me gay. They're calling me fat. They're just, I'm just reading like, stop posting fake ass misinformation about Karmelo Anthony case. Jeff never posted that effing video. That's an AI made video. That's why it's so blurred, because you had to fake it. You're pathetic. Now people don't know one of those videos that was, that is real. It came from the live, but it's just, they want to do everything to discredit it. Here's another one. Dude, you're a clown. You completely destroy the meaning of racism. Try the word bigoted for once. It might actually make some of the things you say true. Every other word that comes out of your mouth is racist. Racist people hate when you say racist.
They hate that.
Why do you think they would embrace it,
In Middle Eastern, those were all ethnicities on that jury, and yet you call it an all-white jury and a racist jury. You said anybody is racist if they message you and they're white. Imagine that. This guy is the irony, racist and messaging me. You're about as bigoted as every person I've seen you talk about. You might even be more bigoted. Notice how I didn't call you racist because I actually know what it means. Try it once. And I am getting a lot of positive, loving messages. So, I read a ton of support, but it's just, it's crazy.
I was looking at social media this morning and something from this case came up and someone had commented about it. And I read the most brilliant comment from this young woman. She's an author. She said, if you leave an insult on the ground, its owner will come and pick it up.
Mm.
And so it's like all of these people are just falling over themselves to hop in your DMs and let you know how ignorant they are.
It's almost like
Yeah.
taking attendance.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, but I know I'm doing something right. You know, that's always the thing. I don't get DMs at all like this, so I just know, okay, I've hit on a chord with people, and I'm doing the right thing. This woman, you know, said God uses whom he chooses, and you are one of his angels. And I pray that you become a national voice for this here United States of America. There are days when I sit in the park and cry out for the people. Thank you for your words. God, wrap your arms around Secret Service Sam and continue to use him and allow him to fulfill his purpose here on earth in the name of Jesus. You know, so there are a lot of, you know, positive messages that I'm getting, you know, but this is a negative. Oh, so it's okay for Black people to kill. You think it's okay for Black people to murder. You keep evading my questions, you know, like it's just these.
Well, I will tell you this. I'm looking at our comments, and you have 100% positive comments. 100,
Right.
not one negative comment, not one. So it's the audience. It's where you are. You know, we have sensible, intelligent people here watching. There's a lot of trash on the internet that they don't get attention. Their daddy didn't love them. Their mom was on meth, and so they'd rather get some negative attention from someone than none at all.
Yeah. If there was Rotten Tomatoes for people, you and Tanner are both certified fresh.
Appreciate it. I know Tanner and I are a few of the real woke white guys, right? You know, I mean, and I hope, you know, that's what I hope I say. It's, you know, it's sad in the sense that we're rare. You know, my goal is to make it so that we're not so rare out there. But for this timing and in my career of activism, I'm in the right place because there's not a lot of people who talk like us. So, you know, my goal is to just keep doing that until more people open up. And then, you know, when my kids, their friends, like everybody is aware of this history and, you know, they understand it doesn't take anything away from you to understand history and to give some people grace, you know, and understand that it hasn't, like, look at me, the way I look, I can walk into any building. People think I'm a lawyer, a manager. I own the place. I know about taxes. Like, people are like, Sam, I don't know anything about taxes. You know, like if I'm in my suit, they're like, are you a lawyer? Do you own this place? Like I went to a trial the other day just to cover it for Mark Garagos, and I'm in the elevator and one was like, how did your case go? And I'm like, I'm not a lawyer. You know what I mean?
A Black person in a suit, they would say the same thing, but in a different tone. How did your case go?
Yeah.
You know?
That's your
Sam,
court outfit.
we got this one right here. Miriam, one of our frequent watchers, said that she's going to be following you, and you were talking about a suit. Sam, where can people find you online? Where can they find more of your content? How do they follow you?
Everything is at Secret Service Sam. My main following is on TikTok, but my Instagram's been blowing up. Please follow me on YouTube, where I go live a lot and I do my podcast. So yeah, everything at Secret Service Sam.
Got it.
Man, thank you for the energy, the insight, and thank you for all you do. And Tanner, thank you for putting us on, you know, because he's been singing your praises for a while, man. And it's dope to actually, like, you know, digitally meet you if we didn't cross paths back in the Hollywood Today live days, you know?
Thank you.
Thanks for
anytime you guys want to have me come back on, I'm always ready to go.
Oh, we will be calling you back. Don't worry. No, don't you worry, Samson. We will definitely be calling you back.
Appreciate it.
Man.
Wow.
My son wants to get in. You want to get in there, Colleen?
Yo, cameo.
My hungry 16-year-old football player.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, he's ready. I'm sure he's ready for some. He needs some dad attention, I'm sure is what he needs.
He is, but you know, he's good too. He goes to like an all Latino school, so he's like growing up as a minority here in Los Angeles. So he, you know, I think that's, you know, just in closing, the one thing any parent can do is we see what Jeff Metcalf taught his children. You know, I'm raising kids. That's my legacy that will continue my work, you know?
That's right. And shout out to Los Angeles for doing the right thing and not electing Spencer Pratt and not getting him in the top.
Oh my gosh, that's a farce. Guys, for everybody watching live, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. I mean, I can see there's a bunch of y'all watching live. Y'all been rocking with us now for over an hour. We thank you so much for giving us your time and attention. On behalf of Headcrack, Claudia, myself, thank you so much for continuing to stick with Side Dish TV. If you like this sort of stuff and you want to throw $5 down on it, we are trying to run our memberships up so that we can continue to grow the channel and do more things like this about things that get at the heart of what's really important. We love celebrity gossip, but we also love culture and talking about the real world as well.
30 memberships were gifted today. I don't know if you have the names up there that did
30.
Yeah, like I think Brian did that, and then also there was a young lady who did it. Hold on, bear with me. It won't let me click it. Brian did it, and so did Marcy Rose. So big shout to everybody. So everybody got those cool little green things, and we're adding more like emojis and badges in the flow. Jesus Lord, jumping rope. Another 20 gifts were just gifted. Thank you. Courtesy Brian did it again. Oh no, hold on. That was no Marcy Rose. Marcy Rose doubled up. She matched Brian 20. Yo,
this is crazy, guys.
It's a family, it's a community, man. And there's times where I think about you guys and it truly makes me want to cry. You know what I'm saying? Because we're a safe space, we're a support hub, and hopefully we're your place where you can come and decompress and not only laugh, but also like on days like this, get information. Somebody said, "Why are you so quiet, Crack?" Because listen, we got a guest. And we're listening to the guest. Yo, but you're presenting information because I fall into the percentage of people who is aware of the case. And I've been saying for weeks, my algorithm is aliens and Michael Jackson. And I'm trying to change that, but I'm into both things. So when I come up for air, I see like little things about, certain court cases and things that's going on in the world. But like, that just goes to show you cannot live or die by social media as a place to where you get your information, man. You got to talk to people. You got to go out into the world and find out what's going on. And that's everybody, because you don't know what everybody's going through and what they're dealing with, man. And, and it's so easy to get lost in the sauce and be confused as to where we are.
So your algorithm is video games and aliens? Is that what you said?
No, I said Michael Jackson and aliens. Yo, they got plasma. So this guy came. He was a congressional speaker. He came and did a thing on the White House steps. Not White House steps, the congressional steps. And he was talking about there's people, there's aliens that got bodies, and there's also plasmoids. We're so close to disclosure. You have no idea.
Oh.
And I walk in the room saying this, and no one knows what the hell I'm talking about because their algorithm is cat.
That would be mine is Cat and fine ass Anthony Joshua. Anthony, if you're watching, I'm still single.
All right.
I'm on the discount rack right now.
Somebody reach out to Anthony Joshua for us. Invite him on to Side Dish. We'll start a dating show. We'll get him and Claudia hooked up. Guys, thank you so much. I feel like otherwise we'll keep going. We got to end it or we're just going to keep yakking. We all got things to do.
No, yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Hey,
I got an audition in a minute. I gotta get my life together. Well, cool, man. We love y'all, man. Like, subscribe, tell others, follow Secret Service Sam, follow the crew if this is the first time you seeing us, because we broadcasted in more spots than we normally do. We love y'all. We'll rinse, repeat, do it again tomorrow, man. Easy.